We've all had these conversations that feel forced or boring or even painfully awkward. And some people would panic, freeze, or start rambling.
I don't know.
Elon Musk is our inspiration for today's video on how to handle any question without feeling awkward. We're going to look at 3 techniques that you can use to never feel uncomfortable in any conversation ever again. Hey there, I'm Rachel, and like always, hit the like and subscribe and let's get started. The first technique is the redirect. In other words, instead of trying to answer a question that feels very uncomfortable to you, just redirect it and steer it in a direction that you do feel comfortable with. Have a look at this example where Elon Musk is asked about AI and it's rather a negative comment, but Elon knows how to turn it around in something positive.
So there really is no future for any of us in this room. You're supposed to inspire people, not tell them they're not going to have a job.
I think we may be able to enhance human intelligence. It will certainly amplify creativity. And in the positive scenario, the AI won't be doing its best to make you happy. So that might work out pretty well. I mean, if some superintelligence is trying its hardest to make you happy, it'll probably succeed.
The interviewer here was arguing that AI could be negative and potentially make people lose their jobs. However, Elon Musk knew how to redirect it in a way to make AI positive, in an angle that made the topic positive and how people could become more creative thanks to AI. You see, that's a great way to redirect or to stay on the topic, but in an angle that you feel much more comfortable with. Here's another great example with Joe Rogan, where Joe is talking with Elon about batteries, the Tesla batteries, their performances, the sodium batteries exactly, and also the challenges of these batteries. But Elon doesn't go into the challenges, he does this.
Like, how far away are we from having batteries that are far more efficient and last far longer? Because I know there was some talk of like sodium-based batteries.
The battery range is not a problem at this point. I mean, the Model S will go 400 miles. Model 3, Model Y will do over 300 miles.
Right, but are we, how far away are we from making batteries that are more efficient? This isn't, like, we obviously haven't at least...
This is not, what I'm saying is this is not really a constraint. The point at which you've got a car that can do, let's say even at highway speeds, 250 miles, now you're driving for 3 hours straight. And so if you start a trip at, say, 9 a.m., by noon you want to stop for lunch, go to the restroom, grab a coffee. By the time you come back, your car is charged.
Did you notice how Elon did not go into the challenges or the problems or the chemistry of the batteries? No, he redirects it. He picks an angle that he feels comfortable with that is also more positive. And he talks about all the positive aspects of the battery ranges and the possibilities and the opportunities that there are. By doing this, he doesn't stay stuck or uncomfortable in a certain topic. Here's another example in an interview with Bill Maher where they're kind of getting a bit more personal.
I'm just saying it's hard for a woman.
Yeah.
To, like, when the guy lives at the factory.
Yes.
That could be a stumbling block. But
yes. Overall, with my concern with Twitter was it is somewhat of the digital town square, and it's important that there be both the reality and perception of trust for a wide range of viewpoints, and there was a lot of censorship going on.
Elon did not choose to comment on his wife or his personal life, but he immediately redirects it into the fact how important it was for Twitter or X and working in the factory. So he took an angle, he stayed on the topic, but he redirects it to go away from the personal topics and more into the business. An example we could use in our daily life at work could be if somebody was asking, hey, why did you not get that promotion? Kind of negative, but you can redirect it and just answer something like, well, I decided to develop my skills and my expertise, so I just keep learning and growing. So you kind of stay on the career and job, but you're redirecting it in a very positive, more comfortable way. Another example could be about food. If somebody would tell you, hey, carbs are bad for you, instead of arguing or debating or discussing that, you could simply pick another angle, redirect it slightly, and talk about foods and how different foods work for different people and different diets work for different people. And you know what? I've been thinking about the Mediterranean diet, and you just go on that angle. It's a great way to redirect and you stay on the topic, but a slightly more positive an angle that you may prefer and feel more comfortable with. Before we dive into the second technique, sometimes you just don't want to answer the question. And that's okay too. You can say that. That's exactly what Elon Musk does in these examples.
Tesla's had a bumpy few months looking at flagging sales at home, stock market decline, layoffs. When you look back, are there anything...
We can stop the question right now because I don't think Business Insider is a real publication.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next question.
All right.
What's needed to bridge that gap?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question there.
What is the timeline for deliveries?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's difficult for me to answer, not my favorite kind of question to answer. And nor is it, I think, of interest to the audience.
The next technique that Elon Musk does quite often is to flip the question around. Answer a question with another question.
You were previously banned for things like hate speech. Do you think you prioritize freedom of speech over misinformation and hate speech?
Well, who's to say that something is misinformation? Who's the arbiter of that? Is it the BBC?
You're literally asking me?
Yes.
Well, no, you are
the
arbiter on Twitter because you own Twitter.
Yes, I'm saying who is to say that one person's misinformation is another person's information?
Here, the interviewer definitely felt awkward, but it's a great technique to avoid arguing and discussions. Here's another example in the same interview, where the reporter is asking Elon who would run Twitter as a CEO if Elon would stand down.
Well, if you don't care about the money, you could just give it to someone that you think is a good person to run Twitter.
Who do you think that might be?
I'm not the boss of Twitter.
No, but you might still have an idea.
Who could run Twitter?
Yes.
Honestly, I have no idea who could run Twitter.
Yeah, it's a hard job.
Okay, let's move on.
Here's one more example to answer a question with a question.
The power the Chinese government might have over you or not over you, and how those things get used.
What are you suggesting?
How these satellites are going to be used, whether you think that you should have control of them, whether the government should have control of them.
You trust the government?
Well, there's a lot of people who don't trust the government.
Exactly.
The result that gives you enormous leverage.
How is it a bad thing to make better products than other companies?
Have you talked to other people behind the scenes as this is all happening?
I've talked to a lot of people. I've not found anyone who knows why. Have you?
Answering a question with another question is a great way to keep the conversation going without any awkward silences. And it gives you more time to think before you give an answer. Like if somebody would say, "Oh, is sugar bad for you?" You could ask the questions, "Oh, do you mean sugar in very small amounts? Do you mean sugar in certain foods? Do you mean a certain diet?" Asking more questions is a great way to allow the other person to clarify themselves. It's a great way to have more time to think. It's a great way to also have the time to pick an angle in that question that you feel most comfortable with, and to pick an angle or a topic that suits you best. The next conversation technique is one that Elon is very famous for, and it's his long silences, his long pauses before he answers a question. Most people would feel very awkward with the silences, and they will try to fill it up with filler words like or ah. But Elon, no. he embraces it. He feels very comfortable in doing so. And when used correctly, it makes you appear thoughtful and confident. Check out these examples.
I mean, there's a million things.
Is your storm a happy storm?
No.
It's not a happy storm.
No.
Tell us about that, because I think that actually, when people try to really understand you, I think that there's a lot of this comes from some other place, and I want to talk about that. What do you think that is?
We should really need like a psychiatrist couch here or something. I think to some degree I was born this way, and then it was amplified by a difficult childhood, frankly.
In all the videos and interviews and conversations with Elon that I've been watching, I've noticed a lot of the times that Elon really takes his time to pause before he answers a question. He takes multiple seconds before he answers, but his record is on a CNBC interview. And I actually used that in another video that I've made, and I'll link to that one below or at the end of this video, where he pauses, was it 12 or 13 long seconds? Really long pause. But he nailed it, he embraces it, it doesn't feel uncomfortable, and it works. In fact, creating that pause, and I'm not talking 12, 13 seconds, but just a few seconds, it creates anticipation, and it makes people listen. It makes people want to know what you have to say. It's a great thing to try. So the next time you receive a difficult or tough question, take your time, breathe, have a moment to think about it, and then answer the question in a way that feels most comfortable to you. I really hope that all these examples with Elon Musk are helping you to find ideas on how to redirect questions or take time or improve your conversation skills. And please do tell me in the comments below which one you preferred the most or which one you're gonna try out. There are more ways to make a conversation flow, to appear more confident in any conversation, even if it gets more personal. So have a look at this next video, and I'll see you there.